Welcome, friends, to the Play Guitar Podcast. I'm Lee, and I'm here to help you become the guitar player that you always wanted to be. Celebrating a little bit today. It's the final episode of a blues mastery series I've been doing for the past 3 months, trying to give you the good stuff to get your blues playing a little bit better. And today, it's a little different. I'm not going to teach a new lick or concept. I'm going to help you make the most of everything we've learned in the past 3 months. What you need to take away. This is the audio podcast. Even if you're watching it on YouTube, this is the video version of that. There's going to be a lot of deep diving, a little more talking in this. If you want the lesson, head over to the link below and we'll get right into that stuff. But if you followed the series, you've gone through my free course, the Blues Solo Breakthrough, you've built a pretty solid foundation. But we're not just going to collect these ideas and not do anything about them. It's about knowing how to use them and show them off, right? So we're going to step back and look at the big picture today. What was I wanting to do? What did I want for you to be able to do after watching these things? I made licks after licks after licks, and some of you have learned every single one of them. I hope the good stuff that was in those licks have seeped into your playing. I want for you to show what you've gained, and we're going to talk about how to apply it today and what to focus on next. Where do we go next from here that you've done all this work? So we're going to break it down today, very simplified format. We're going to talk about what you've gained from going through all of these licks and lessons here. There's 9 of them, 9 takeaways. We did the first 3 in the lesson video, control and feel. We're doing bending, vibrato, working on timing and phrasing. Becoming expressive and being clean with those things. That was the important part. The second thing we did was note targeting, playing into the... So could you hear the chords going through as I played that? I'm targeting strong notes, even without the rhythm playing going on there. And the last thing we talked about in the lesson video was call and response, being conversational with the way that you play. But let's get into the rest of the things here. One of the things was talking about studying other players, studying legends. We did some Eric Clapton, we did some Stevie Ray Vaughan, Albert King, B.B. King. Learning how they played. These are the people that, they're the reason why you even play like this. If it wasn't for them bringing it to us, we wouldn't know what this stuff sounded like. It was something totally different, right? So what did Stevie Ray Vaughan do? How did it, targeting the 9th on a turnaround. Sticking to just mostly pentatonic, but waiting for those very, very particular times when to throw in a chord tone or to play super quiet or super fast, super loud. All the things that Steve Ray did and hanging out around pattern 1 a lot of the time. Stevie was all over the place, but pattern 1 was definitely the place he spent the most time. Gosh, he could get a lot of different. So he milked that pattern. He got everything out of it that he could. So, and also, looking at like Albert King bends and how, when we study the bends with Albert King, how those translated into the way that Stevie Ray Vaughan played. And then B.B. King is in a whole different field when the way he plays is completely different. And his was more about vibrato. A single note with the right vibrato can mean everything there too. So studying the legends, learning their timing, learning their phrasing. We also talked about fills between chords, how to move from one chord to the next, blending rhythm guitar and lead guitar like a pro. We had several about that. And So I just played whole blues for you, and I didn't strum. I didn't go. I didn't do any of those things. I did maybe a chord stab or one that lasted a little bit longer, but I used that to change the harmony. Then in between those, I filled in between chords. I led you in a certain way. I changed my scales up. I went from minor pentatonic to major pentatonic on the 4 and major pentatonic on the 5. These are all tricks that you can do that are going to take you up to the next level. And it's not difficult to do. You just have to be intentional about that. Blending rhythm and lead like a pro, you see beginners playing and intermediates playing. It's like, here's lead guitar over here. Now I'm playing lead guitar. Now stop, switch gears. Now I'm playing rhythm guitar. Being able to blend them together is something you can really work on. And it's not tough to do at all. Confidence. This is the next one. Number 6, confidence and identity, playing with purpose and developing your voice. So how do you get confident playing guitar? Say it out loud. Practice, right? You need to know what you're doing. The problem is that doesn't work because you can practice anything. And you might miss the whole point. You may not be working on the right things. The key is searching out the right things to work on, or being led in a certain direction by someone who's been through it before, which is what I'm trying to provide for you here with all of this free content, giving you a direction. I'm the guy at the end of the tunnel waving, come on this way. There's a bunch of shiny stuff over here, but you're going to get lost. If you come this way, your skills, your basic skills will be bolstered, and then you can move forward. So also developing your voice, finding out what sounds good for you. I hear some players, excuse me, that will play some cool licks and it sounds so good. I want to play like that. And then when I play them, it just comes off flat. Doesn't work well. And then there's some people who have tried to play some of my licks and it just didn't work for them. But for me, they really are a part of my own sound. We all have our own voice on the guitar. Even when you're a beginner, you have your own voice. There's certain things that you take to. There's certain decisions that you just instinctively make. But you can develop those things. You can grow. There's been a lot of those times where I play like that didn't work for me. And I said, okay, I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to get stubborn. I'm going to be, and I was able to with a lot of practice. I was practicing in the right direction. There's something that I can't do yet that I want to do. I'm going to knock that down until I'm done. In the last group, number 7 is foundational licks, foundational language, why they work and how to own them. So we talked about standard licks on the guitar, some of these, and I use these every time I practice. And these are things I learned probably when I was 15 or 14, right? Oh, you've heard these in a million songs. But this one, the first one I'm playing is the bending of the 7th fret on the G string and then barring the 5th fret on the B and high E string. This may be the first blues lick I learned. I think it is. I picked it out. Who knew I could remember that far back? I do that every day in one way or the other. I try to disguise it though. Backwards or adding some rhythm to it, adding some space to it. And I wanted to learn those kind of licks because Jimmy Page did them. I was a big Jimmy Page fan when I first started going. He could take some very basic licks and frame them in a way that sounded just like from another planet, So getting those basic licks for the style of music that you play. I mean, if you play rockabilly, there's a basic set of licks that rockabilly guitar players know. If you play country, there's basic set of country licks. Blues, rock, there's a basic set of rock licks that you can use. Spend some time to learn them. They're there for a reason. Why? Because those sounds communicate to people who like that style of music. And it's all about learning how to communicate. That's what we're doing here. And then we go into number 8. A lot of the lick episodes that I've done over the past 3 months are systems, step-by-step systems, simplifying your path forward. A lot of these things are simple, especially with the chord targeting things that we've done. Pick one, pick the third. Only do it once, maybe every time the one chord comes around. So we're playing. That's knowing, okay, I've got a certain thing I'm going to do every single time, and that's going to keep me sounding interesting. It's going to sound focused. And when I say systems, I mean certain things that you do repeatedly. I have, with all the content that I put out and all the different things I do, I can't remember every step. So I have I use Workflowy. On my Workflowy, I have a whole to-do list that's called systems. And I have different ones for different things I do. And it's every step, one after another. And it's something that I do on a daily basis that I need to be able to remember and not stray off the path. We can do that with lead guitar. The form, we talked about form for a long time. Starting low and building high. Starting high for the high note for shock factor. And then going to like some standard licks and then building from there. Being able to have a standard way that you approach a certain style of music or a certain lead is very important. It's a lot of pre-thinking that's going to make you sound great. And the last thing that I was trying to get across for the past 3 months is for you to overcome getting stuck. Learning how to get out of a rut and get into real momentum. If you notice that the licks started very easy, and as they went, they got a little bit more difficult there. Sometimes just putting one foot forward is the key. That first one is the most difficult, and then start moving forward, but moving in a direction where you know you're not going to get stuck again. So for those of you who went through this, the whole thing's about getting out of a rut, starting to work on things that build your basic skills so that you have something to build from. You're not just doing the squirrel, right? so that you're not just doing the shiny object syndrome, trying to do this, working on things that are going to actually make you better and make you valuable as a guitar player. But now we've been through it. Now we've gone through all those things. It's time to apply them, right? I would like for you to pick one concept to focus on each week. Let's say week 1, you're going to work on phrasing. Sometimes you might play and sometimes you might think, I don't really know what I'm doing. Or I don't really know how this is coming across, right? 1 week on phrasing, playing small ideas that have an ending and then moving to another one. Instead of linking things on and on endlessly and run-on sentences, try working on nuggets, small little gems of licks, right? Groups of notes that sound good together, and how maybe I could do that same lick again, slightly different. Maybe I can do it again, slightly different. Spend a week on that. And maybe the only week you ever get to do that. And it will 100% will make your guitar playing better. The next one, targeting. That's a little bit more involved. Maybe the next week, feel, right? So the tip number 2 I have for using these things, other than spending a week on, is cycle through practice zones, right? So one of the things that we do in coaching is we do technique exercises. We work on these things. Sometimes it's just hand-eye coordination, but sometimes it's bending. Sometimes it's string skipping. Sometimes it's vibrato. But if you're not working on those things, you just think it's going to get better. Maybe you'll get lucky, but maybe you won't there. Applying what you're learning, playing over jam tracks. Jam tracks are a gift. Backing tracks, they're a gift to us. Why? Because when we play music like this, it's a matching game. We're trying to either match or not match a certain harmony behind us, the chords that are playing behind us. We either want to match them on purpose or don't want to match them on purpose. But when you haphazardly do that, that communicates. People know it. People can tell, oh, he sounds a little lost there. Oh, that note didn't quite work out. Bless his heart, that note didn't quite work out a little bit. But, making sure that you're intentional with these things. And backing tracks are the best way to do that if you're not in a band or anything like that. When you play the note, you get instant feedback. You can hear whether it matches the chord or not. Then when the chord changes, you can hear, am I keeping up with that? And that's going to tell you, hey, these are the things I need to work on. Recording yourself over backing tracks is wonderful. Hearing what you really sound like there. I know it's fun in the moment, but wouldn't you want to get better? I think you would. You're listening to this, right? Expression, recording yourself. That's exactly what I was just talking about. But tip number 3 is have a loop for doing this practice thing. Record, review, adjust. Take a moment, set up a recorder, your phone, even when this is a Zoom H1. I just have sitting around here just in case I don't have the computer ready. It could be your DAW. It could be OBS you could use to record yourself, right? It's a free, it's a streaming thing, but it's also recording as well too. You can record yourself in many different ways. I think video and audio is the best. But after you do that, you review. Now, reviewing your practices, that's interesting because sometimes you're in the moment, you record something and it sounds great to you and you go back right away. If you right away listen to it, you might still be in that moment and you might be missing some things. Sometimes what I'll do is I'll record about something and then I'll forget about it. Maybe I'll sleep on it. The next time I come to practice, I'm like, oh, what was that thing I was doing? And I'll hit play and then I'll go, whoa, that wasn't what I thought it was yesterday. And it could be for better or for worse, right? It could be, it was a lot better than you thought, or it was horrible, or there were some things you were missing, things you didn't know. But what you could do is have the things that you find from watching your practice from the day before dictate what you work on in the new practice. So this is the loop: record, review, and adjust over and over and over again. Ask yourself, am I doing what I think I'm doing? Am I coming across that way? Because in the moment, it's hard to tell. In the moment, you're feeling it and you're busy. You're trying to remember scales and chords and rhythms and those things. You're trying to put it all together. You're not listening as well as you could. The end of this was a lot of fun. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. Beginners and intermediate players getting to start thinking like professional players. And we did a lot of these. This I really hope you've seen a boost in your playing from these licks and these podcast episodes as well too. But where do you go next? What are we going to do to move forward? You're not starting over anymore. We've been working on foundational skills. You are now to the point where you're building on it. A lot of you have got my free course, Blues Solo Breakthrough. This is going to help you move forward. I've added some things to that lately too. But that's more of the same. I have something coming out. It's called the Blues Elevation Toolkit. This is the toolkit. This is different. This is designed for real players, not theory nerds. This is got some quick reference tools for you. Some things I need to know that scale. I need to know these different chords. So we have a whole section for that. I need to know these different rhythm ideas over the blues. What can I use? I've got some improv aids, but I also have some lesson things going on with that as well too. So you can move forward in a way that you're used to continue on what you did from the free course there. It's a lot of fun. Right now, I'm still putting the finishing touches on it, but if you'd like to join the wait list, you can head to the link in the description. Or if you're listening to this a little bit later, you can grab it now. I'll let everybody know when it comes out pretty soon. but get on the list there. And if you're brand new and you missed the blues solo breakthrough, I also have a link for that. That's a free 6-day intro to everything we've been covering here. But today is really for the folks who are ready to go deeper. Thanks again for sticking with the Blues Mastery series. I've had a great time with it. You've done more than you realize. You've gone through that. I'm proud of the progress that you're making. If you made it with me here, you're doing some fun stuff. Let's keep going. Head over to the show notes for all the links, and I'll see you in the next chapter of your blues journey. I'll see you next week.